Hey everybody, and welcome back to Crypto Simplified. This down market just doesn't seem to end. I was initially really excited about getting all these fantastic buy opportunities, but it just seems like this stuff is going on forever. So let me run you guys through my method of how to find great opportunities in a down market. However, before I do that, thank you all for the likes, for the subscriptions, and for all the shares. Do click on that bell button below to get notified on every single upload. Let's get into it. And first up, I need to reiterate the rules of investing. These are all cliches because we have to keep saying them, but it just seems that people do not follow these through. So invest only what you can afford to lose, buy low, sell high. Find those undervalued projects only. Don't invest in something that you think is past its peak. Then buy the rumor, sell the news. Do your own research, exhaustive research. Keep researching until you feel that you know every single thing you possibly can about this company. And then lastly, this is something that people tend to overlook quite a lot. Be prepared to wait indefinitely for those gains. If you believe in the project, stick with it and hope for those gains to come a little later, but they will hopefully come because you have done your research and believe in the project. However, while these are the rules of investing, they don't really seem to be the realities of investing, because you get lots of people who are taking money out of their daily expense budget to put into crypto, hoping for these quick gains really quickly. People take out loans to invest. However, loans are tricky things, especially if you need to pay them back on a monthly basis. You shouldn't be dipping into your actual living money to pay back loans that you've taken out for crypto. The next point is really important, and for all the buy low, sell high talk, people get carried away. We are human. Buying at the top when you see these prices shooting up is a massive temptation. Please, people, refrain from that. And on the flip side, people panic sell when the prices are shooting downwards. Do not worry, people. Do not panic. The rules for this market are still being written. We are not even at a $1 trillion market cap. The dot-com bubble at its peak had reached over $2 trillion. And we can all see that the potential of cryptocurrency is way bigger than the simple moving off shop fronts from the physical world to the internet. The last two things, however, I think go hand in hand. With this flood of information that we're getting on social media, it can really stoke up the impatience in us. We want these gains and we want them now. I have lost out on massive profits because I sold too early. This is an admission on my part. Every trader who's been in the game for more than a few months has probably experienced this once or several times. This is just a reality of this world that we are investing in. So if you believe in the company, stick through with it. So then next up, this is the most important thing you should remember. The market doesn't care about you as an individual. The market is a collective force that works on the aggregate of human sentiment around the world. If people are feeling positive, the market will go up. If people are feeling negative, the market goes down. So what you need to do is put in the work to work within these confines of the sentiment. The market is moving. It's always moving. And you need to find out where you can enter and where you can exit. And that is where all your research and time and preparation comes into this. And now let's go into my method. But I want to reiterate, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is just my method that I'm sharing with you. Do compare my method with lots of other people's methods and find something that works for you. Trading is a very personal thing. So please take your time with it, get familiar with it, and do your research. Then let's get right into it. My first step is shortlisting projects that I find interesting. If I see a project that has had massive gains over the last few weeks or months, I just keep watching that, because for every up in this market, there's probably going to be a down. And I want coins that will give me 10, 15x returns. I don't want percentage returns. I want multiples of returns. So you can only get these massive returns if you're looking at smaller projects. I say this because the smaller projects have much larger upward mobility potential. So in order to identify these potential projects, I go to page 2 of CoinMarketCap. I tend to keep a bit of an invisible line of about 300 million USD as a total market cap for the coin. That is sort of what I'm looking at because I do want, like I said, the big gains. So I identify these possible projects by seeing which are the ones that people are actually considering worthy of their time and investment. So that's why I sort by volume first, because by default, these projects will be sorted by market cap. I look at the volume and then looking at the circulating supply because I am considering scarcity to be a key factor in the price point of future cryptocurrency, especially if these coins get adopted by a wider audience. Next, I'll compare its current price to the initial listing price as well as its all-time high. Then, by looking at how long it's been since these all-time highs, these dips and everything, I just try to gauge whether this price movement of this project is lining up with other patterns in the market that have come before us. Like for example, there are massive altcoin bleeds. How resilient was this coin during this massive altcoin bleed? Same thing with the all-time high. Did it happen when all the other coins had hit all-time highs? Or was this all-time high at a different time? These are just numbers that we can use to further provide context to how this coin has been performing. And once I have my preliminary shortlist, I'll just go through all the websites to find out the USP or the unique selling point of every single company that has caught my eye. So this is just the initial groundwork that I'm doing based on numbers and nothing else. Now, let's look at the USPs. I prefer to eliminate first and then prioritize after that, because if there are coins that have massive red flags, then I just don't want to waste my time looking into them in more detail. So straight out, the projects that I will eliminate without even a second thought are gambling platforms, lending platforms, and memes. So gambling platforms, because morally I don't really align too well with gambling platforms. It's not something that I would like to promote. I'm very skeptical about lending platforms because there is no real way to enforce non-payment of cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies aren't even legal tender in most parts of the world, so governments and the legal system cannot enforce any payments. Next up, single-use tokens, like things that are just for payments or just for a very, very narrow industry, such as DentaCoin. I'm not very bullish on the long-term potential of these because it's just very narrow use. Same thing with the old proof of work tokens like GrosselCoin. Yes, they work for payments, but I see cryptocurrency as a thing that will shape a new economy. And simple payments like this, we already have them with Bitcoin. We have it with Litecoin. Why would people use these other coins that would be less accepted by merchants and by individuals? Other than just to invest in, I don't see the value in those. That is just my personal opinion. And then next up, I would like to warn you about projects that overpromise. Zero transaction fees just do not provide enough incentive for people to keep a network going. You want people either staking or mining your cryptocurrency so that they can keep the network decentralized and robust. Transaction fees are an incentive for people to keep doing what they are doing. So any platforms that have zero transaction fees don't have incentive for people to participate in the network. Sorry, I didn't realize my camera was moving away from me very slowly. So back into this then. I would like you to be extra wary about anyone promising you anything in cryptocurrency. Any platform guaranteeing you returns, just ignore them. Same thing with platforms guaranteeing you infinite scalability. Guys, you have to think of it this way. If the geniuses behind Bitcoin and Ethereum haven't managed to make an infinitely scalable platform, remember, these people are PhDs. They have doctorates in computer science. If these people cannot do this right now, Would you really think a person who made a project in their parents' garage would be able to do the same thing that Bitcoin and Ethereum cannot? Think of that logically. Then next up, any direct competitors to massive companies will probably not be adopted in a mainstream way. As an example, I think the basic attention token, while it's a fantastic idea, it's got fantastic priorities, it is just in a very, very, very difficult market because Google Chrome is an absolute dominant force in the web browser market. The basic attention token relies on the use of the Brave browser. And unless the Brave browser starts eating away market share from Chrome, it's very, very unlikely that the basic attention token will become one of those massive cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum. And lastly, I think this is the most important aspect. Do not invest in any company whose USP you do not understand. If you've read the white paper and it still doesn't make that much sense to you, ignore it. Go on to another one. There are lots of projects that you probably will understand, so there's no need to risk your money in something that you have at best limited information on. And now let's look at the projects which I would prioritize. And there are only a few things over here, but I think these are very key points. Any company making their own blockchain from scratch that has its own aspects to it that are addressing weaknesses in other blockchains should consider them. I'm not telling you to invest in them. I'm telling you to add them to your shortlist for further research. If someone feels the need to make their own blockchain from scratch, they've obviously identified a very specific use case. So I think the least you could do is hear them out a little bit. And next up, Cardano does this. We need input from academics. People with PhDs working on this will put me at ease about the future of the project and also the priorities of the project. People with academic backgrounds will probably have a much more long-term look at this. And I'm in this for the long term. I'm in this to HODL. I do not want to day trade. And then the next point is something that I find very, very important for the adoption of cryptocurrencies. If existing businesses feel the need to have a blockchain to make their operations more streamlined or more efficient, then these are people who already have a massive client base. So it's very easy to roll out this project to a lot of people. Therefore, adoption up, which could result in a massive price increase. The same thing applies for companies that already have partnerships with governments or with several governments. We need scale in order to make these things work. And if we can scale things using decentralized methods, that is the absolute best part of both worlds. And then finally, only invest in projects that you would use yourself. Projects that you see as potentially useful for a business that you know intimately or for a way that you see the world. It's as simple as that. If you like it, add it to your shortlist and then research it further. And that is where the hard work goes into this. Play the devil's advocate with each use case. Ask yourself questions like, okay, what if Google did this one tiny little change from what they currently do? Can they completely eliminate this new cryptocurrency startup? If the answer is yes, then you probably shouldn't be investing in this company. Ask yourself the difficult questions. Look online for contrarian points of view. Get thinking about this from a very critical perspective. This is your money. You don't want to just pour it down a drain. You want to invest this and get much more back later on. After you're sort of sold on the use case, then you can check out the team. I won't put any parameters such as all stars or they have to work for a Fortune 500 company. No, none of those. You just want experienced leaders. People who've been in the scene for a while. While I'm all in favor of young, brash people coming in and changing the world, this is my money that I'm investing and I want some returns on this. And I will go for experienced leaders and people who've been in the scene for a while who know how the ecosystem works. So I would use LinkedIn for this, as well as several Google searches, looking at their universities and just seeing if they have any other projects and work that they've released before these cryptocurrency projects. And now that I've done that, we can actually look at the technical workings of the project, and Steemit is a beautiful platform for this. Most people who are taking their cryptocurrency project seriously will run it by the Steemit community. So check it out there. Once you've got that, look at YouTube. There is a lot of gold standard information on YouTube. And most importantly, lots of different perspectives. You got some people dismissing projects, some people absolutely trumpeting on about projects. What you need to do is compare old videos with current performance. Look at what people were saying about the project a few months ago. Look at videos of what they're saying about this project now. Gauge sentiment. And you can use Reddit and Twitter for exactly the same thing for much more real-time feedback. This is a sentiment-fueled market. If people are positive, the price will go up. If people are negative, the price will go down. So this is where the value of social media can come in, is getting this continuous feedback on how the project is doing and how the people see the project and its potential. Now that you've done all your research, let's get to the trading. So I use TradingView and I make lots of lines all over the charts just to plan my entry and exit points. A lot of preparation that leaves me with a lot less thinking to do when the market's actually moving drastically in one direction or another. So it just helps me plan and to do less thinking on the fly. Before I make any investments though, I like disconnecting completely. Go out for a walk, play a musical instrument, go read a book, do something that is non-crypto. Just get your mind completely away from all this and then look at your working with a fresh set of eyes. If you agree with it, good. You're good to go on to the next step. If you go up to the first point of this slide, I mentioned points in the plural, and that was not a mistake. I have several entry points and several exit points because I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket at one price. If the price will drop further, great, let's consolidate. If the price goes up, cool. If I still believe in it, I might be okay with buying at a slightly higher price. It all depends on your own personal lines in the sand. So I stagger both my purchases and my sales because if the market goes up and I happen to be asleep, I get the sale. Or if the price action whipsaws, like goes up and shoots back down again, I might get one of those outlier high sale prices. So that's why I keep locking these things in. Same thing with my profits. Stagger my sales so that I can keep getting those gains as the price goes up. But if it doesn't hit my one major target that I've set way down the line, at least I've got something to show for this price increase. That being said, reevaluate your goals constantly. This is a market that's always in flux. Your mentality should always be open to changing. You need to move quickly but decisively with your information already on hand. And finally, I'll just leave you with a few tips. I look at the market in terms of sectors, and currently the sector I am most bullish on is the enterprise blockchain sector. We have companies like Neblio, Nulls, and Dragon Chain with platforms that are designed for plug and play functionality for businesses. I think this will be very, very useful, and it'll encourage a lot of smaller businesses to get integrated to a blockchain for additional transparency and for more robust record keeping. So I think that this is a space that is ready for disruption. So I've hedged my bets over a few companies that I think will make a splash in this space. However, this is a safety first approach. Hedging bets, so yes, I am reducing potential profit, but I'm also reducing risk. Next up, you should always remember that there is no such thing as too much research. research exhaustively, and then a bit more, because you can never know too much about a project, and also there's so much news every single day. You cannot possibly have 100% of the information on a single project. So keep digging, you'll keep finding more stuff. To tie in with the whole research side, always get the opinions of people with whom you disagree. Follow contrarians on Twitter. Follow people who are way too reactionary. Follow people who just make you angry with the content of their tweets. Because if you take these people's opinion on board, you will round off your perception on what a project is all about. There are too many echo chambers in cryptocurrency. Too many people shilling coins just because they really like them, and they fail to see the weaknesses and vulnerabilities in the projects, the teams, or even the vision of the company. You need contrarians on your newsfeed. I cannot stress this enough. And the last thing, people, only invest what you are willing to lose. Don't take out a loan for this. Please do not take out a loan to invest in cryptocurrency. So that's it from me. This is Marv from Crypto Simplified, signing off. You guys have an awesome rest of the day. Do not forget to like, do not forget to subscribe, and please click on that bell button to get lots of updates from yours truly. All the best. Take care. We will catch up very soon. Later.